So it is the summer break, and we are partway through this F1 2024 season. Let's just review this season so far. What a season it has been.
It started off slow, didn't it?
It did, yes.
It started off quite worrying that Red Bull were going to be gone again.
Yep.
But it's festered up quite nicely, and it appears to me McLaren could be the better car going into the second part.
Yeah, it's appeared that McLaren have been the quickest car for maybe the last 7 races or so.
Some of them have been track dependent, but as an overall,
yeah,
it
McLaren,
seems to be McLaren, doesn't it?
McLaren the last 7 races have had the best package. It's interesting though, because not every single time they've managed to capitalize on it. Maybe when they should have. We looked at Britain being one of the main ones, Canada as well, Austria as well. You've got a few examples in there, but yeah, McLaren look quick. The only issue is Max is still ahead in the championship by a load of points.
It's still a decent amount, isn't it?
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not catchable for a few races, I don't think. But still, it could be interesting come the end of the season.
I mean, the thing is, you still chances are your odds on Max is going to win. But a couple races here and there, maybe a DNF, maybe finishing a 6th for Max. Lando wins. It's back in it.
It is back in it, and if you have a few more occasions like we saw in Monaco, where he doesn't qualify well, and if he can't come through the field, or if he doesn't have a chance to,
messes it up like Hungary.
Oh yeah, or collides with Hamilton, like he did in Hungary. It could genuinely be Lando's back in it, but once again, Lando is going to have to pull his weight in the championship fight as well, and actually start winning some of these bloody races. Yeah,
he's got to start putting himself in there to win now and start dominating.
Consistently,
yeah. He's undeniably, the pace is there to win.
Yeah.
He's just got to do it now.
He's just got to do it, that's right.
More and more.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Let's move to Ferrari then. Ferrari had a very good start to the season. It looked like they were going to be the closest challengers to Red Bull, winning in Australia with Carlos Sainz, and then ended up with Charles Leclerc in Monaco. But since then, nothing really spectacular has happened, despite maybe getting lucky with a few results.
Yeah, it mainly went downhill since Canada, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
They've had a few good results since then.
Yep.
Some you would say lucky, some that they were actually there on pace. So, Hungary, for example, I think they were thereabouts on pace. It was all that close.
It was quite close. But
it was just McLaren were gone.
Do you think, and we'll segue to Mercedes as well here, do you think that possibly if Mercedes grow into this season with the same momentum they have been this first half of the season, are Ferrari in trouble in being overtaken by Mercedes in the constructors?
If Mercedes continue the way that the trajectory that they've improved this season, I wouldn't rule Ferrari out of reach. Maybe even Red Bull, depending on how Perez performs in the second half of the season.
Even Red Bull?
Well, even Red Bull, because Red Bull aren't far ahead at all. It's close between the top 4 teams now. If you look at the point, it is close still. And if you've got Lewis and George up at 1 and 2, or 1 and 3, or 2 and 3, and then you've just got Max there, before you know it, Mercedes are on the back of them.
Yeah, and might I remind everyone, by the way, as of this recording, obviously Sergio Perez has not been replaced at Red Bull. However, given his performance in this first half of the season, that could very likely be the case if you're watching this 2 or 3 weeks into the summer break. It could have already happened. Okay, so there's a good chance that might have already happened.
There's a good chance Perez might be gone.
Yeah.
By the time of this recording, he's not gone.
Yeah, as of this recording, he's not. So, but yeah, no, I mean, if Perez has an absolute stinky second half of the season, then yeah, there is a chance that potentially Mercedes could catch, but you never know, do you? I mean, I don't think so. I think Max possibly I think Max is carrying that team. So
Max is carrying it, but Mercedes aren't as far back as people perceive them to be.
That's fair. Let's move on to kind of Formula B then. I mean, what happened to Aston Martin?
And at Bahrain, it looked so promising. Bahrain and Saudi, didn't it? With Alonso battling away.
It really looked like they were still a part of that top flight, with Alonso
really
right in there, and with the Ferraris and the Mercedes and the McLarens.
And then it just went.
Yeah, what happened?
I mean, we did see in Bahrain, but it's a bit strange, this one, because we did see in like Bahrain, Saudi, their qualifying pace was there.
Yeah.
And the race pace wasn't. We saw that in Bahrain quite evidently, that their race pace wasn't that.
Yeah.
But their quali pace just went as well.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened.
That's the thing. Everything's just went, and they've dropped into this pool with RB for most of the season now.
I think possibly Aston Martin might be my flop of the mid-season so far. They genuinely have had so many stinkers. The expectation to be up there.
Yeah, they had expectations, didn't they?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's quite difficult to beat Red Bull. I mean, despite Red Bull being first in both championships, I think Red Bull have flopped pretty hard as well, given how far ahead they were. Yeah. So the fact that Aston Martin, I think, probably eclipse how far Red Bull have fallen from grace just shows you how far Aston Martin have fell.
Oh, they fell. They fell. Considering last season that they were the second best car for a large majority of it.
Yeah.
And now this season, you look at them being like fifth, sometimes even sixth, maybe seventh best car.
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
It's really not that good.
No, it's really not great. Let's talk about RB then, who looks like their closest competitors. What are your thoughts on the performances of Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda?
Well, Yuki had that blinder at the start, didn't he, really?
Yeah, I mean, he still has been doing well.
Yeah, he still has been doing well, but it was evident right at the start. Yuki was unbelievable and seemed to have a little bit of an edge over Daniel.
Yeah, he did.
Obviously, we thought back in Bahrain, this teammate duo could blow up after the shenanigans that happened at the end of that race.
Oh, yeah, that was mad, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they seem to have come together a bit better. Daniel's grown into the season, performing well. I think both drivers, they're both performing at a level where you expect now. Both of them.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't looking good, Brev, was it, for Daniel at the start of the season? No. It really wasn't, but he's, if anything, in the last, I'd maybe say 5 races, I think Daniel might have sort of performed slightly better than Yuki overall. Possibly. Yeah, maybe ever so slightly, but...
Maybe not. Yeah, it's been close, though. It's not like one's been way ahead in all the races.
Not like how Yuki was at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting because I really like Daniel Ricciardo, and I do want to see him back in that Red Bull. I don't think he will. Once again, as of this recording, nothing of the Perez situation has happened. So if Daniel somehow does end up back in that seat when you're watching this, we have no clue right now. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I really do hope Daniel somehow gets himself back into a top team. But right now, he's performing where he needs to be, and Yuki's doing well as well.
Well, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they'll catch and maybe even beat Aston Martin in the second half of the season.
Yeah, Yeah. Let's move on to Haas then. I mean, Haas, I think, are interesting. We all predicted them at the start of the season. You remember in January?
Yes.
We said Haas are going to be dead last. Absolutely nowhere near the points. Yeah. But you know what? They have performed.
Well, yeah, they have performed, especially Hulkenberg.
Yeah.
He's got to be up there as one of the drivers of the first half of the season.
100%. Absolutely 100%. And we had Kevin Magnussen's antics as well in Saudi and Miami.
He's provided us with some shows, and this half of the season, Kevin.
Entertainment.
Yes. Some great entertainment from young Michael.
I mean, in the driver ratings, it hasn't fared well for him, but on-screen entertainment has been absolutely brilliant.
Oh, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal from the man.
He's provided some very good entertainment, so well done, Kevin. But yeah, Haas overall. I mean, Kevin's had some good performances as well. We can't forget.
Yeah,
he's been in the points a few times.
Yeah.
He's just
it's
getting
just a shame that Hulkenberg's been ridiculous.
Yeah, Hulkenberg has been ridiculous. I know. Let's move to the right at the back of the grid. Let's just glaze over Williams real quick. Sargent wants. It's just the same story as last season, isn't it? Really.
I think Sargent's had a steady improvement though over the past few races.
Yes, that's also important to mention.
Give him credit. It's important to mention Sargent at the start of the season. It looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
It looked pretty bad. Obviously, everything that happened in Australia with him not racing as well. But his qualifying's improving, and his racing's improving. He's thereabouts on quite a lot of races around the points, battling with people now instead of being 20 seconds back. So it is.
So the bare minimum.
Yeah, he's now doing the bare minimum, which for Logan is like the maximum.
Well, here's the thing about Logan Sargent. I think it's a little bit too late.
It is too late. It is too late, but it's nice to see him there at least.
It is, and I mean, I hope at the end of the season he won't get replaced mid-season because they'd be putting another F2 driver in there.
As of this recording.
No, I don't think he will be. But it's nice to see him maybe get a bit of confidence, maybe go to IndyCar at the end of the season, and hopefully perform there. Because I do want to see him win some things. I just don't think he's going to win in Formula 1.
No. No, I don't think so either.
And one driver I do want to touch upon, who's also at Williams, Mr. Alex Albon. I personally think he's gone very under the radar this season, and I think he's had a slightly underrated season. Personally,
he's been consistently always there, really, hasn't he? He has had a couple of mistakes. Let's not gloss over. He's had a few problems, especially with crashing in Australia and everything.
Yeah.
But in terms of his race pace, where he is on the track, pretty much 9 times out of 10, he's always there to pick up a point if it was needed.
Yeah, exactly, and he has been in the points. He's been there to pick up the points if anyone goes out. He's been consistently fighting those cars, being well ahead of his teammate, out-qualifying him, getting into Q2. He's been doing bits, and in a Williams that clearly didn't have the advantage over the midfield it did last season. Because last season, I thought the Williams was much better than it is now. At least in comparison to the gaps to, what it was to McLaren last season, and then to, Alpine. Obviously, they've gone down, but then Sauber and Haas are ahead. Aston Martin is still ahead. RB have made improvements. They have fallen back in sort of that pecking order a little bit. Yeah. And even Alpine are now starting to sort of retrieve the pace that they had last season again. And they just seem to be falling backwards. Albon consistently has still been in that sort of zone, and I think that has gone very under the radar this season and deserves appreciation.
Yeah, I do think that's a zone most races. It's usually 2 or 3, maybe even 4 teams quite close together, and then one of them's like gone. So as we saw, Spain, Alpine were clear of that midfield. We've seen countless times RB clear of that midfield. We've seen Aston Martin clear of that midfield. The only thing we haven't seen is Williams clear of that midfield yet.
Yeah.
They don't appear to have that ability. They appear to be a team that's consistently around the front of the back markers.
Yeah, it's just a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, they just don't seem to have that little like go to a track and then maybe, oh, these are the front of them. They appear to just be in the pack.
Yeah, they have for some reason track dependency is something that Williams don't have. They're just average everywhere.
Yeah, they appear to just be average.
Just completely mid everywhere.
Yeah, literally. Like you used to go to like a high speed track, like we'll see probably Monza, because Monza and Williams do tend to go well, as we saw De Vries got a fucking point.
Yeah, and he did, and
so
that happened.
Well, it'll be interesting to see Monza if that Williams pace that they're known for over the recent years, straight line speed, is there still.
Well, we'll see it, won't we?
Yeah.
And quickly just glossing over Sauber and Alpine. Sauber, still shit.
They've been shit all season.
I don't even know what to say about him, man. Like Bottas is slightly better than Joe, as you'd expect. Joe isn't that great. He has one or two
Joe's not great, but I think Joe has been harshly criticised quite a lot. I think Joe's one of them. Like the car's shit, and he's so far back. It's easy to criticise Joe, with especially 9 times out of 10 Bottas is beaten. But let's just remember, Joe has had glimpses of beating Bottas this season. It's not been all terrible for Joe.
No, but he doesn't get helped by the fact that his car's an absolute wheelie bin.
No, that car's dug.
Yeah, and it's such a shame because you sort of feel like Bottas and Joe, but Bottas especially, is being disrespected by the fact that that team clearly is not having a lot of investment put into it because of Audi taking over.
Yeah.
And they're just waiting for Audi. And then it's not even like they're hanging out for Bottas and Joe to get a good car. They're both getting replaced by the looks of things.
It does seem that way that neither of them will be there next season.
So it's just sad, like, to see Bottas.
We know one of them definitely won't be.
No, yeah, we know one of them definitely won't be. It's so sad to see Bottas, who is such a capable driver, as we've seen. He's beaten Lewis Hamilton. He's beaten Lewis Hamilton.
Bottas is a phenomenal driver.
Yeah, it's just annoying that he's almost getting forced out of that team and given a car that they clearly just aren't putting any investment into. And it's really sad because Bottas is a great driver and he deserves better.
Yeah. Well, other than the fact that car looks shit, there's not much else to say. They provided some great drama in the pit lane, didn't they?
Yeah.
That lasted about a minute each time.
That was quite funny, wasn't it?
It was so long.
Oh, it was long.
So long.
And finally, Alpine.
Now, they looked bad at the start of the season, didn't they?
Mate, they looked absolutely dog wank. They looked so bad.
But their resurgence has been quite impressive.
Yeah, it has.
Considering how far back they were.
Yeah, they've somehow managed to claw something out of this season. And I can't help but think, by the way, as well, that is 100%, not 100%, it's a lot of percent down to the fact that they've got two very capable drivers. And I would hedge my bets to say, if it wasn't Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon in that Alpine, I think they'd just be completely fucked.
Oh, they would have problems if them two were. Like, you got to remember, these two are race winners as well.
Yeah. They're very capable midfield drivers at the very least. And
now Alpine seems to have provided them a car that can battle for them few points now, at least.
Yeah, at the very least. Obviously, it's not worked out for Ocon this season with the team drama, which I think we should touch on ever so slightly.
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, Haas next year, Ocon.
Yep.
So you could see it coming. You could see it coming. Them two were never really going to work out worthy together.
No. They said before, just as they signed Pierre Gasly before the season even started, the season before, like, there's no way these guys are going to get on. They never have done. And, you can see the dream, can't you? French F1 team, 2 French drivers fighting for the World Championship. It's a dream for the brand. It's a dream for...
Grosjean?
No, definitely not. It's a. I love Grosjean, but no, it's you can see the dream, and it's definitely not worked out. So no. But anyway, their resurgence has been quite good. I'm excited to see what they can do in these new regs if they turn their shit around. Because after all, they are a manufacturer team. Even though they're going to get Mercedes engines and parts and gearboxes and all that shit. You know, hopefully they can turn it around. But either way, I mean, so we've had a multitude of race winners this season.
Yes, we've had many. It's nice to see.
It is, but they've all come from Formula A. Now, my question for you, Jack, is if we do get another race winner this season, and he comes from Formula B, who will it be? Just like 2021, Pierre Gasly vibes. Esteban Ocon vibes.
I got the Pierre Gasly ride, by the way.
You did, actually. Every opportunity you get to bring that up, you do. But to be fair, I would as well. So, what if there is a Formula B driver to take a win this year, unexpectedly, to add to the roster of wins we've got, who will it be?
Should we go Formula C and say Bottas?
Formula C? Imagine.
Whoa. You know what? If there was... See, it depends, because obviously as we're recording this, we don't know if Yuki or Daniel have gone to Red Bull yet.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
That's the only thing. So, obviously, if one of them go to Red Bull, one of them might win.
Yeah.
So, taking them two out of the equation as well.
Yeah.
I would go with Pierre Gasly again.
You're going with Gasly in an Alpine?
No, I would go with Gasly in the Alpine again, out of them all.
Fair enough. I'd be boring to go Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, that's depressing, bro.
But anyway, fun and games, delusion aside, it's been a good first half of the season, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can see a second half of the season. If anything, this sort of the last 7-8 races where McLaren have been quicker, Mercedes have gotten quicker, hopefully Ferrari can pick it back up for, consistently at least.
Yeah.
It's making me excited for 2025.
It's adding an element of uncertainty, and that's what we want.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. If they're this close going into 2025, we've got a 4-way car title battle on our hands. Oh, it's gonna be so good.
It could be fun, and that's when it is crucial to choose your drivers right.
Exactly, and that's why Mercedes should sign Carlos Sainz. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe. Let us know what you think of this season in the comments down below so far.